boy who doesn't like to sleep either. So yeah, he's like me, unfortunately. So he stays up till midnight most of the time.
Wow.
And then we sleep into like 10, so it's not so bad.
Oh, wow. What is it?
Yeah. His name is Joseph.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Will he run into the room anytime from now?
He could. Yes. He's very unpredictable like that. And he likes the spotlight, so
Ah,
yeah.
started already early.
Yeah, it exactly. It was too early that I noticed that. Yeah. I was like, "Oh boy." But yeah, he loves music. I bought him a drum set for Christmas, like a electronica, like Elisa's drum set.
Yes.
So, and he has a ukulele already. He's better at the piano than I am already. So, so that's good news.
Looks like on the next project you're not only going to be the only composer, seems like.
Yeah, I I work in two different ways. Sometimes I top line. Someone will send me the beat and I'll just yeah, do the lyrics because the lyrics are my favorite part. That's my like writing is closest to my heart.
Okay.
And that's what I studied in school. And yeah, so sometimes yeah, someone will just send me a beat or guitar or something like that and I'll just come up with the lyrics and sing it. But I do prefer to compose it from scratch. I just find it's just a little bit maybe not that it's easier, but I think I just
Like
enjoy that process.
involved, right?
Yeah. So I did that for my EP that I released that has Healthy Love on it. I composed all the songs, sent it to the producer. He sort of added his touch onto things. And then, yeah. So,
Oh, that is transformations, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
was playing it earlier on in the day, and
Thanks.
I was going through some songs.
Thanks.
This is the interesting part. This is how you got me in. When I read that, when I heard that you enjoy themes of high consciousness, sexual healing, and empowerment, I was like, I'm in. And I had read Django, I was like, okay, we're off to a good start.
Thanks.
Then Guns,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So
Thank you.
how does this get started for you? How does music get started for you?
Um, I as far as like creating the song, I always think of the title first.
Mm.
Always, every time. I can't do anything without the title or the concept because I have my training for writing is actually I went to film school. So I learned how to write for movies and for TV. So it's always like flesh out the concept first. So I'll come with an idea like Red Jungle. I like that. I haven't and then sometimes I'll Google it and see how many titles there is of that song because I'll be like, well, if there's too many, then I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I think maybe there was one. And so then I kind of think, okay, so what does this mean for me? And I flesh out the idea and then slowly try to turn it into something that makes sense and is catchy, right? And
Yeah.
you know, build the verses and the chorus and the bridge and yeah, I love the whole process of it. I do treat it like a movie, like act 1, act 2, act 3 sort of an idea too.
And then what was the approach of Jazz Had Guns? That is interesting.
Yeah, jazz handguns. Actually, so I used to do live theater. I used to do like comedy improv for years. And my one of my instructors, he's on my Instagram and he goes, "Hey, can you write a song with the title called Jazz Handguns?" And I'm like, "That's amazing." I love that title. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." So I actually that one I composed and produced myself and I played the instruments and I didn't really know to be honest what I was doing. I just started taking a production course. So the whole EQ and compression, I was like just kind of going off of my gut feeling, but it kind of yeah, I I really like I said, I really like having a really unique title and try to create a song that offers a different type of perspective or just ideas and concepts that maybe have never been brought to a song before.
And let's see. Okay, so as you're writing, how much is of because you're coming from film school, so it's easy for you to come up with things on the spot and
Mhm.
with the improv classes too. But how much is written about you? Like how much is actually?
Yeah. Um, hmm. I'd say over 50% each song for sure. Sometimes with the song like Healthy Love, that's more of like what I think it would be. Because I can't say I've had a romantic relationship that is like totally perfect. I don't know if that exists, but
Nobody.
Healthy Love is like my ideal, like where you just totally accept and respect that person and they feel that way towards you. And so that was more so me just, yeah, dreaming it up. Um, Something like Red Jungle is sort of my philosophy on life of if you meet the right people, you can elevate yourself out of the grasp of the matrix sort of thing. And then something like Jazz Handguns, that is like 100% about me. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you try to get me to give it up sort of thing, where it's almost like people perceive me in the wrong way. And that I'm always watching, I'm paying attention. And so the lyrics kind of go off into about that. So yeah, there's some songs that are like maybe 100% about me, which has taken me a long time to get comfortable with for sure. Um, that level of like vulnerability, but then also see I think too it's hard when you're writing and you kind of, if it's really about you, you kind of get stuck. I always would say like I'd get stuck in the second act because I didn't know how to finish the story because I'm still in the story myself. So it's like to be able to choose an ending and perceive yourself in a way that is like eloquent enough that you can articulate the message but not be like the victim of your own story, right? And we want to be the victim a lot in our lives, right? And kind of, oh, woe is me writing. And, songwriting can kind of take that turn a lot of the times. But I like I was saying, how I view it all as like a different act. And act 3, you got to wrap it up. Like you got to solve the problem, right? And so that's, yeah, it's hard to solve the problem of the song if I haven't necessarily solved it in my life. So I try my best.
Yeah, and also you have to make it relatable. When you
Hmm.
when you make it a lot about you, then people can't find a way to relate with it.
Exactly. Exactly. No, that's so true. I there is definitely like one thing I found with writing in not just songwriting, but other types of writing was that um there was like a line, right? It's like if you tried to make it super relatable and you forced that, it didn't work as well
Yeah.
as if you worked with like tiny details to hook people in and people go, oh yeah, that maybe they never thought it or felt it, but it was somewhere deep inside that when they heard it, it was like, oh, that's how I felt. And it resonates. Or you can make it more general from the beginning. So yeah, there's yeah, I think that's again, it's the process of writing so much because when you're first starting to write, you try to make it um you want everyone to like it, so you are trying so hard to make it relatable that it fails.
Yeah. So so clearly, do you have a jazz handgun?
I guess my guitars would be my jazz handguns. Yeah. We're in Canada. We don't carry weapons.
Like those that scream, oh, like when you go down south and go to the youth,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're like, my Second Amendment.
Yes, yes, exactly. Here in Canada, it's like if you had a gun, it would be like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so safe. It's, yeah, especially the town that I live in. I guess, I don't know, we pay for more police, or we have the Mounties here. So
Wow.
yeah, and we pay for it as far as like real estate goes. So it's very expensive in Canada, but it's
Services, you still get the services though. So right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so so Transformations was your first project, right? That you put out.
Yeah, um that I released, I guess, as a really big project. I had worked with another producer. We had released about 14 singles, but that one I was just top lining with pretty much every song on that. And we had a couple songs that were on the radio and stuff. So that was really cool. And we did mostly like soul music. And I just I can never choose. I love everything so much. So I just view each song as whatever the inspiration is, and however it comes, right? Like I do get in trouble from some producers that are like, just pick a style already. And I'm like, I can't choose. And no one, like, not in I don't have a record label. No one's telling me to be a certain way. So I'm just gonna honor each song right now until that shifts somehow. Hopefully not, but
Yeah. Uh, there are two things. So, either you can build your way up and then like, have a partnership, or you get signed and then they tell you what to do.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Um, I've had a couple different labels approach me, but because of COVID, things didn't quite work out. But I just wasn't sure. I was like, independent labels, like super independent ones, like that wouldn't be too bad, I think.
Yeah, I think the independent labels are quite okay because you kind of work together. It's like a partnership.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
yeah, and at the end of the day, you almost share what is generated.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That would be better because you really can do it without any help if you know what I mean. Like you really can. There's definitely there's all the resources now. Everything's just on the internet and
Oh yeah.
things like this. And so I definitely um yeah, I feel like the uh, wise words that I got about it was, just keep trying to get your streams up, keep putting out as best of content as you can, so that when someone approaches you, they already see who you are, and then they won't want to change you. And that's my biggest thing is I definitely stubborn in the sense where I don't want people to suddenly make me some sort of like pop princess. So I don't think that would happen anyways, but still, that was always like a fear of mine in the industry, like way back when. And
Where was that
yeah,
coming from?
I think it was like when Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and all those girls came out, and it was like
And
just carbon copy, carbon copy, carbon copy.
pitting them against each other.
Yep, that's so true. Yeah, and there was the time where you needed to be able to dance as well. No thanks. And so yeah, it was a weird time in the industry, and then suddenly it just changed, and then it was like with Spotify and everything, it was like, oh, now there's room for everybody and all types. And yeah, it's so great. So I was like, okay, now I'm fully going for it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but where does it come? Where does the do you feel like you're a bit insecure about being that big and you don't think you can handle that?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those stars seem kind of maybe miserable. I don't know. Um yeah, that's because I see myself as a writer first. I have that personality. I love performing. When like I used to do like I said, a lot of stage. I did a lot of musical theater and stuff too. But I feel like somewhere in the middle would be nice, where like you had a decent income, you were playing live, you had some good streams going, but as far as that international stars. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one for me. Yeah, that's a weird one.
Still want to be modest, don't you?
Yeah. Because I want to do other things too. I with writing. Like I love songwriting so much, but I feel like I always have like 200 songs going at once and I'm like I need to focus my energy on writing some other things in order to stay sane in my mind. So yeah. But I'd also love to write songs for other people and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to ask you. Have you written for other people instead?
I've only actually written like plays for other people, but never songs. There's always, yeah, there's always like the potential, and then um, I don't know.
You
You
have
know what I'm
time
gonna?
for yourself.
Yeah, it's. I feel like I would. I'm actually going to start doing this soon too, but more so coaching people with their own songs rather than just full on writing it, because I really feel like everyone should write their own music. But I think that some people, if they aren't a natural writer or they've never taken courses in it, like take a course and yeah, get people to help you with it. That's something that I would like to do rather than just full on, just focus on a song, here you go, sort of thing. I want to be a part of that process with training and teaching. So, because I always wanted to be like an English teacher, so I love teaching. So it makes me really happy. So that's something that I am going to do once I have more time.
You know, and then also, you took you are taking a different direction on your other project. You're getting into production now, and
Mhm.
how far is that going as far as producing
Yeah,
and making your own music now?
it's definitely intimidating. Um, it can be like, yeah, this constant feedback where you're like, okay, I think I got it. You listen in your headphones, right? You're like, okay, it sounds good. Then you listen on your computer and you're like, yeah. Then you listen on your phone, you're like, no, this is horrible. And I think like because you're so focused on getting your lyrics right, you're so focused on getting your voice right, and then you're trying to get the melody, and then having to have the other responsibility of getting the sound right. I'm trying more and more to care and also to know what it is that I'm trying to listen for. Right? Like paying more attention to other music and being like, okay, so this is how this kind of song is mixed and it's glossier, it's more saturated to then this song is more acoustic sounding. And so it's tuning my ear to be like, what is the sound that I'm actually going for?
Yeah.
But I work along with someone who masters my songs, and it's really funny because Jazz Handguns on on SoundCloud has the most streams out of all my songs. Now it's the one that I did myself and fumbled through. So we always talk about it as like it's interesting because what is it that people want to hear? Because it sounds more live. Because I didn't really know how to make it sound totally perfect and all that sort of stuff. So the song sounds more live but yet it has like much more, yeah, many more comments and likes and reposts and stuff on SoundCloud. So I'm like, this is very interesting. So what is it, for so long we've had the music industry tell us what we want to hear and how it should be heard and all this sort of stuff. But what is it that people want to hear? And I was like, well, maybe people are missing a live sound because we haven't been performing live for an entire year.
Everyone is bloating, and everything is perfectly s-
Yeah,
and then perfectly processed and everything.
yeah, exactly. And I love old music. Like my a lot of my inspirations come from like Cole Porter, like old school jazz, Broadway, yeah, Nina Simone and Dusty Springfield. And so when you listen to how those songs are done, it does sound more live.
Yeah.
And there's, it's just, I guess they couldn't get it super perfect back then, right? It's
No,
harder.
I think when you're playing live, it's not. You see, the what makes it perfect is when people are producing and pushing buttons, and then that
Yeah,
you can easily get it perfect, and everything sounds so clinical and so perfect. Yet, actually, when you go to a concert or you're playing with a band, you can never get it perfect. But
exactly.
people like that because it's what makes it human.
Yes,
And when
exactly.
people are listening, they will. There's even when the producers are listening to other people's work, they're like, yo, but this was off, but it sounds good. This part was off, but it sounds good
Mm-hmm.
because it
It's so
happened live.
funny. Yeah. The emotions are there, and yeah, that's so true, because like it's the same thing with vocals, where sometimes I'll be recording something over and over and over again, and I'll be like, it's just not there yet. There's something. It's like that spiritual moment just isn't. It's not hooking me in yet. And then if you get it, but then it's a little bit off too, and you're like, well, you know, it makes me like, that's what made me feel good listening to that, rather than it being so perfectly placed. And yeah, I do too. Like, I love, anytime I buy an album, I always buy the live version, always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's something to learn. As a producer, for you who's getting in production, there's something you can get other than listening to something so perfect, and you're like, how did they make that? And then
Hmm.
at
Yeah.
because a lot of times now people are using samples and stuff like that. That's how they're
Yes.
making music. they're not playing.
Yeah.
They're not playing.
Yes. I really feel like the pendulum swung too far that way with the samples. And there was a lot of repetition and like the samples what did really well for a while. But now we want the old school feel. We want the live, the instrument sound. We want that energy again.
Yeah, and I hope it gets back to that because it's just that when you look at the popular, what is popular on the mainstream stage, you find that it's a lot of samples, a lot of not live music, and that's why
Yeah,
it doesn't last that long. And
that's so true.
but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, the people that actually make music and play live, that lasts long.
Yes.
So
That's such a good point. Yes.
and besides, the labels are not doing any more artist development at all, so
Right.
they don't care
Right.
anymore. Yeah.
Oh man, I know. And especially if they take someone when they're younger, right? You need mentors, you need that type of development. And yeah, that's, I think, again, the music industry was so geared towards, in film school they said the music industry is geared towards 13-year-old girls and the movie industry is geared towards 13-year-old boys. So just know that.
And
But again, now it's like with Spotify and YouTube, like it doesn't matter. Everyone's listening to music,
yeah,
right?
access is made easy now.
Yeah.
And then what? So as far as film goes, what are you doing on that side?
I'm always like working on my screenplay and working on a musical. I have a piano player, a composer that I work with, and we've got a few songs that are kind of coming together for this musical that I've always wanted to write. I always just feel like, as a writer, you literally just start, it's just you and the page, right? That's it. You have nothing else. No one's involved. And you just have to somehow create it and then put all this time into it and then hope for the best, right? But so many writers we live in our minds. And because it's so hard. It really is. I was just watching a masterclass by Sylvester Stallone, because the Rocky movies and the Rambo movies are like some of my favorites.
That,
And
those are classics.
they really are. And they really stood the test of time because it's that underdog story, right? And
Yeah.
he just nails the human condition. And we all relate to Rocky, right? It doesn't matter who you are. And so um that's a big undertaking when you go to write something, right? And it was really great to hear him talk about how grueling it is for him, right? And it's you go through some really dark days when you're writing that type of stuff, because all this stuff is coming out of you and you're just like, whoa, I never knew I felt like that. And you become like a little bit scared of your own thoughts. And then again, you have to solve these problems too, and you have to make it all make sense in these characters. So um yeah, it's a little bit intimidating to start, but at the end of the day, that the end result is just more fulfilling anyways. So yeah, I really want to start writing a screenplay, and I have my musical idea, which is based on the movie Inception, which is my favorite movie of all time. And I always thought it'd be so cool to do like a live musical theater version of that.
Ah, will it be as confusing as Inception?
I know, right? It's that I've literally watched that movie like 30 times and I'm still like picking up things every time I watch it. Because it is that whole like dream within a dream within a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll try not to make it as confusing. But hey, it does help if people keep coming back, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Pays
of
the bills.
course. People people keep coming back to something that is good, as
Yeah,
that keeps on sparking something in them. So
that's so true.
yeah.
That's exactly it. So again, with solving the puzzle of your song or your movie, you have to do it in such a way that like it still is a to be continued, and people still have to come up with their own resolve, and but then listen to it again and be like, oh, I didn't catch that. Right? It's good writing is hard. Good writing is like, it's like writing is easy, but good writing, like real writing, that's hard work. It's hard work, and it takes a lot of editing and editing and editing and editing. And so yeah, it's
Yeah, and I think as long as the patience is there to build onto something,
Mhm.
I think you later get there other than just doing some microwave stuff.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. Even a song like Healthy Love, I was like, when I Googled it and there was only one other song with this title, and I was like, oh my gosh, this song is open for me to write. This is so great. But there was so many directions I could take it in. And I'm like, how do I honor this title, this concept? And then you finish it and you're like, did I do it well enough? I could have done it in so many different ways and so many, right? And you're just like, well, if you feel like maybe it wasn't quite there, you try to do it with another song, right? So everything is just like everything is a to be continued from one song to the next.
You keep expounding on that. Even on
Yeah.
because even on transformations, I see you're going into different places even with the writing.
Hmm.
And like Healthy Love, we've been having that on the show, and
Yeah.
uh, you say it's more close to what your life, what you would want in your life, or what your life is. How would you describe it?
Um, I feel like when I had my son was where I was like, whoa, real love, right? So I definitely have that a whole new perspective on unconditional love. And so, and I used to actually be a personal trainer and a nutritionist for many years too. I was always working on writing and singing on the side, and which may call it. So I worked as that part time, and so I always was, I think like we spend so much time being so concerned about the health of our body and the health of our mind, but we really have to focus on like what does healthy love really look like, and yeah, I mean I've been in relationships where the guy has been like, I can't compete with how nice and pure you are. I'm like, is that a bad thing? Right? Like it's not everyone's open to healthy love too. They're not ready for it.
Yeah, they're like, because of where we come, where both of us come from, both different, having different backgrounds and different stages in our lives, realizations and all that. It's different. So
Mhm.
I might be like, yo, I'm not deserving of what I'm getting. So you end up, you draw back a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh, too
Totally.
nice. I mean, hold on, I'm used to a toxic environment. What is happening? Why are we,
Exactly. Why
why are
aren't
we,
you
why are we
yelling at
not
me?
fighting?
Exactly. Exactly. It's so true. Yeah. And I've had that like a few times where I'm like, it's interesting because you just never know someone's past and what they're used to. And sometimes, if that's how you grew up too, and you were told that's what love is, but yet your parents always yelled at you or some other person in your life, and you get confused to what how love is supposed to actually look like. And sometimes people think that, yeah, you do. Like, in order to express your love, you should be yelling at that person and fighting in order to get to that point of understanding. But to have a different approach, people sometimes don't recognize it. They don't see it and they don't understand it. And they're just like, no, thank you.
Like, hold on,
So, yeah.
what are you hiding? What are you actually hiding?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. It's true.
I'm not used to this. So I think it's and I think over the years I'm trying to get myself to that point, right? Because like even I think I don't know whether it's that's why I related with the song that much, because
Nice.
I'm trying to get to a point where I'm like, okay, hey, we don't have to have drama for us to prove a point that we actually like each other that much.
Yeah.
Even with friendships, you're like, hey, it's not that we have to fight over anything all the time for us to prove that we have each other's backs.
Yeah. So true.
You can easily have people that you trust, and you don't have to always look over your shoulder to see if they're actually keeping their word or not.
That's so true. Well, and Healthy Love is the final song of the EP, and the EP was a concept EP. So there's the 5 songs. And the first song, Gold and Silver, is about recognizing your inner worth. So the journey of the EP was the main character, a girl who realized her self-worth and was just going to honor that. And so I think that when you do see your worth, and you do love yourself and all that good stuff, then you just naturally attract the other person to already be more on like a healing path, and they can see you for you. I think that's the biggest thing, is sometimes it's like, even though we all live in the same reality, we all kind of have our own little reality bubble within our own perception, and we can't always see everything that the other person sees, or because that's that word, cognitive dissonance,
Yes.
right?
You
You can only recognize, yeah.
you only see what you project what you think is
Yes,
your reality
yes,
to other people's and you think it's the other people's reality. You're like, how
exactly.
come you're not seeing what I'm saying? So
I know, right? I mean, the whole world right now, we're dealing with that, right? It's interesting. It's like it's really amplified right now. So yeah. And everyone, yeah, it's and so, and sometimes you see eye to eye on some things, and then other things you're like, oh wow, we're so different there. Yeah, but then again, just like respecting that, and it's okay, right? Like, I think when you feel complete and whole in yourself, you don't need that person to agree on everything, right?
yeah.
And we're always needing that. Like, people always want validation, and they want confirmation, and they're waiting for people to say something, and it's like, just say it to yourself first, and then that way, when that person comes along, it's like no pressure, right? So the song Fluid that comes before Healthy Love is about that. No pressure, just be in the flow with somebody, right? And
So
so
there are 5 songs, right? So you start off with getting
gold and silver.
gold and silver, getting to understand your worth and
Mhm.
know your worth. Then what comes next?
The song Untie. And Untie is about breaking your chains with your old version, with your old self who didn't feel good enough, strong enough, all that sort of stuff. And the chorus is like, unlock me, untie me, sort of thing. Like, unlock. I was thinking like that, in video games where you unlock the character.
I almost said, what was this? Like shades of gray and locks and stuff. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, that too. That's exactly it. Yep. To play on both. Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, it's like, again, I feel like when you upgrade in your reality and you're, like I was saying about, like, if you upgrade and then you attract someone else who was upgraded already, it's like you've unlocked your character in a new level. And so that's sort of like the idea of Untie.
Yeah, and
And
then
then it goes to,
fluid, I think.
oh, Red Jungle is next.
Red Jungle, yeah.
Yeah, Red Jungle. So Red Jungle is about the idea of meeting the right person to then even still elevate like your souls together to, because the red jungle is sort of based on the idea of like us living in a labyrinth, in a giant maze. And when you take the red pill, you can get out of the red jungle. Yeah.
Right, right, yeah.
The Matrix is one of my other favorite movies of all time.
And then you go to fluid and then healthy love, right?
Yeah,
Right. So that is yeah, that's a good concept. And
thanks.
so that can be good anywhere on any of the DSPs, guys. That is transformation. Okay,
Mhm.
transformations. That's the title of the EP. Of the
Yes.
how did you call it? An EP album? What did you call it?
Yeah, I called it an EP. Yeah.
So guys, you can get that, and that's
Thanks.
available everywhere.
Yeah.
So you what are you working on right now?
Um, I've got another song coming out at the end of this month called Inception. Because I was like, again, I was like, this amazing title, Inception. So I wrote a song called Inception, and it's with the producer here in Canada that I've known for a long time, and he does a lot of like hip hop, rap, trap type of music. So the song actually kind of ended up being a little bit more on the trip hop side. It just sort of we're like, well, it's like trip hop lounge. Yeah, I would say. And so that's coming out February 26th. And then I actually have a summer EP coming out with a producer in Germany, and it's actually synth pop, like 80s synth pop. Yeah. A
Nice.
little bit of trip hop too. There was one song that's kind of like Massive Attack kind of style, because Massive Attack is probably my favorite band of all time.
A lot of people probably that are listening in that kind of because I see when I look at the numbers, some of the younger ones, okay, the people that understand the music a little bit might have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's early 90s. Yeah. I had an ex who was a music producer, and he was from London. And so he was going through my CDs one day and he's like, no, no, no. And he's throwing them in the garbage. Christina Aguilera. And he's just like, no, this is garbage. Why do you listen to this? And I was like, hey, I like this stuff. This is good. I like the way they sing.
Even
And he's like,
even
yeah,
the boot.
got the boot. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, show me, he's like, you have to hear real, like good music. So he showed me Massive Attack, Portishead, Tricky, and endless amounts of really good trip hop and electro music. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And it's been my favorite ever since. Like Portishead is I take a lot of inspiration from Portishead for sure, because again, it has that nice, still like old jazz vibe to it with the modern beats, and the lyrics are very poetic. And they're kind of, again, you kind of have to listen. There's a couple songs of theirs where I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And I like that. I like that.
And you're like, hold on, what did they mean with that?
Exactly.
How yeah, I like getting in. I like getting into those songs. You're like, yeah, you keep playing, and you're like,
Mhm.
what did they mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, and you keep making up things in your head, and then you're like,
I know. I know. I love those songs where I actually have to Google, like, what did other people think of this song? Yeah,
when you go
like
down,
Hotel California.
yeah, oh yeah, and you go down a rabbit hole of
Yes.
them not understanding what they're talking about. Even some people like, no, this is now crazy. No, that didn't mean. But then someone is like really trying to defend that.
Yeah. It is. It's great. I love that. Either they wrote it like that so that we would be constantly going down the rabbit hole, or else they were just like on drugs and they just came up with some random stuff and they're like, okay, now you guys figure it out. You figure out what I wrote.
Years have gone by, and they even themselves can't go back to that point and tell you what they actually.
Ah, wow.
Like,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yep. And it's true. I've done that with myself too, where I'll go back and I'll be like, what did I really mean there? And I'll be like, I don't know, but that's okay.
And someone says, I thought this, and you're like, that's a better story. Let's go with that.
Hmm. Totally, totally. Yes, that's so true. It's so funny. Yeah, yeah. And again, it is nice to have the poetic lyrics where there can be at least 5 or 10 different interpretations, because then that does allow people to make it feel like it's more for themselves as well.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, yeah. I wasn't thinking about that, but now you gave me a good story. Let's go. It's a better one. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, to get a gist of this, you're having an EP coming out. How many EPs? You say the
Yeah.
projects are
So
out.
so got the Inception, the single, and then the EP, it'll be 4 songs with the German producer. Um, he goes by Galaxy of Night. And he yeah, so him and I have 4 songs coming out for the summer, but we're going to be releasing them like one at a time sort of thing. And then I've got my own EP coming out November. I hope I can get it finished by. And that will have 5 songs on it as well. And right now I have all the songs written, but just getting it into the studio, I have different musicians coming to play on the tracks, which is really great. Some of them offer, and I'm like, this is weird timing. Yes, I do need a drummer. I'm not, that's definitely not my talent, drums. So I really appreciate that, or a really super good piano player, or a guitar player that can really riff. And yeah, it's really nice. I've had my experience working with other producers, and that's good, but I want to kind of focusing just on working with more musicians right now and having that live band sound.
Yeah.
And the producer from Germany, he is technically more of a composer anyways. He's more of a musician than he is necessarily like a producer. So it is nice when artists can just collaborate, not have like ego being like in a competition with each other, and just be like, you know what, we're actually all better when we're together. So it's really great. I've really seen that shift I think maybe just 2020 really shifted that.
Oh, yeah. I think that changed, and a lot of people have realized that, oh, no, something can shut down tomorrow and we don't have to do anything anymore. And what we're competing for can just get out of the window right
Yeah.
now. So,
Yep. So true.
and we all seated at home for
Yep.
almost getting into a year, because it's February. If February
Yeah.
is done and we're getting into, which will be, and we're getting into March,
Yeah. It's
that's
crazy.
the year for ever since it went crazy across the world, because I know China was before then, and then some other places, but then like the whole world, I think March is when things got south.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep. I know. So we just really like online everyone became closer.
oh yeah,
And yeah, it's been really great to meet so many musicians. And then the odd time when I go to the music store here in Kelowna, I'm like, yay, musicians in person too. Makes me so happy. Unfortunately, my city isn't like a really big music city, but close enough to like Vancouver, and Vancouver's pretty good. And then yeah, of course, like LA is there, but I'd love to go to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas. I know Vegas has such a great music scene. It's a little bit more like old acts or cover singers, right?
yeah,
But it'd be nice if it turned more into, I really think that the cover stuff is kind of done, like people are still doing it, but I really, yeah, it was just like, it was so much, right? Like American Idol, and it was really cool at the beginning, and The Voice. And then it started to be like, I think the problem with those shows is that it's really hard to compete when you're singing those old songs and everyone loves those songs. And then when you finish the show and you have your own original songs, it's hard for those original songs to compete with your performance
yeah.
of those so loved old school
Bar
stuff, right?
the bar is so high,
Yeah,
and as a young
exactly.
musician, coming out with your own music, it doesn't easily match up to what they are used to. They're like, oh no, we like tying the competition, but the music she's making right now, you don't get it.
Yeah, totally. And so if they had shows where the competition was with the original music, then that would actually help out the artists and not work against them.
Yeah, it wouldn't be working against them at all. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. We have transformation that guys can stream right now, and that is first of all, how can people find you on socials and all that?
You can find me with my name, Jordana Kalenova. And yeah, if you Google it, it should pop. I have my website. So hopefully that pops up first on Google. I have to double check that. So I do have a website, jordanakalenova.com. And all the links are through the website as well. But I really love Instagram for your calling card, right? Your main spot to kind of direct you in every other direction. So yeah, I think I put most of my energy onto um, Instagram, SoundCloud, and then Spotify because I'm always on those three. I'm not as much on YouTube. I want to start being on YouTube more, but slowly infiltrate. Well, YouTube is tricky because YouTube again is based on kind of hashtags, right? It
Yeah.
depends on the kind of hashtags you have. And it's really hard as an original artist. You're like, hashtag red jungle, like no one's gonna find me. So
Like that's
it's
handgun.
exactly no other hashtags with that. Yeah. So I feel like with YouTube, you need another shtick in order to bring people to your original music. So that's where I'm going to do a lot of the more um, writing workshops because I think people really like YouTube for like learning,
Yes.
right? Like
All that. Yeah.
yeah, like guitar players will teach guitar and then like maybe play one of their own songs and right like YouTube seems to kind of had gone in that direction. I know a lot of singers do like reaction videos or things like that. So I thought maybe I would do some reaction videos to some song lyrics or things, something like a gimmick. You gotta have a gimmick on YouTube. Yeah,
I
it's,
think
it's
I think that's why I'm not on there that much.
yeah. But I really like SoundCloud. It's old school, but I like it for demoing your songs and getting that feedback because you don't get feedback on Spotify, right? You either get onto playlists or you don't,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't get onto playlists, no one can really find you.
Not interactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So we have Jordana on the show, and hey, we are you ready to get busy?
yeah, we can try got Mankind Brown,
Mm-hmm.
the song that I had put up yesterday.
Yes, on you.
That one, yeah, that one's the sort of spaghetti western type of feel.
Yeah.
And this song actually came to me in a dream, funny enough. And I had found a band called Mankind Brown in my dream. And they had this really amazing western sound with this cool trip hop beat. And I was like, in the dream, I was like so blown away by it. I'm like, I was like showing people this song and this band's music. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh, that doesn't exist. And I was so sad. But I was like, I like that. I like that title, Mankind Brown.
Yeah.
And I kind of think of it as sort of like a fallen angel like archetype and like as if God was to walk amongst us sort of thing. And so I just sort of based the song around that.
Oh, that's interesting. So, guys, we have Jordana Kalenova on the show, and she'll be performing for us. All right, she'll be giving us a treat right today
Thanks.
on the Xtreme BPM, and you know, we shall let her do her thing, and then all you have to do is just watch and listen.
Okay. My guitar going here. I just bought this guitar.
Oh, so we are even getting a treat on a new guitar.
Yep. I just have to get the chords. Oh my gosh. Such a chord disaster here. It gives me so much anxiety. I look at these chords and I'm like, no, just don't look at it. Don't look at it. So many plugins and everything, right? But this is the guitar. I'm so happy with it. It's a Fender Jaguar, Squire Jaguar.
Hold on, how many guitars do you have?
Um, I've got, hold on 1 second. I've got, so I play, so when I was younger, I grew up playing the piano and the violin. So the violin, actually, I was never great at the piano. I'd look at it and I'd be like, I don't get it. I played piano for like 5 years and I was still like, I couldn't get both hands going. And so, but I was actually just naturally, yeah, I know. It was pretty bad. I don't think I improved at all in those 5 years. And so, but yeah, when I picked up the violin, I was like, okay, this makes sense. And I was just naturally, yeah, it felt like second nature playing the violin. And then I went to the guitar after that. And then I play the mandolin and the ukulele. I've got acoustic, mandolin, ukulele, electric, and I just got a bass guitar as well, because the bass guitar is very similar to a violin. I just find there's a lot of similarities. I don't know if I might be the only person that feels this way, but that's maybe just the way that I relate to it and connect the dots with it. So yeah, I really like the bass guitar. I didn't think I would like it I just bought it because I was like, well, if I'm going to be doing my own stuff, I have to add bass. Every song needs a good bass, right? But yeah, it's
bass can you have? How much bass can you have? Not enough.
Exactly. It's so funny because a lot of the comments on SoundCloud on my songs are always like, yeah, that bass. It's like people just love bass. And I totally get it, because there's one of my favorite songs of all time, which is like a soul song from the 70s, Oh Honey. And that bass line in it, it's just so good. That bass line really does make the song, right?
If you play that on the highway and you're driving.
Yeah. And so I used to always hear bass players just be like, just talking about their bass line all the time, and I didn't quite get it. And now I'm like, yeah, I totally understand. Like the bass line, it really drives the song, but I'm slowly getting better at it. I mean, if I could have a bass player play on my songs, that would just be better.
People are collaborating more now, so maybe
Yeah. There is someone in the city that I met that's a bass player, so I'm hoping, because at the end of the day, right, like you have your strengths and your weaknesses, and yeah, so I'm always going to put my focus on writing and vocals, and it'd just be so much better to have a whole band.
Yeah.
And not me trying to do everything, but I don't mind. But I like just strumming the electric, and I think it has a nice mood. And if I have to do solo shows, it's good to just bring one guitar, but preferably it would be nice to have a band. So
yeah. That was awesome. So guys, we have Jordana Kalenova playing. We're starting off with what? Mankind?
Yeah, we'll start with Mankind Brown.
Mankind Brown, okay. And we're doing that right here on the Xtreme BPM E-Jazz Radio. My name is Mark Xtreme, and let's go.
Just gonna make sure the sound here is pretty good. Might have to turn it up a little bit. How is the sound? Is it not bad?
Too loud?
Is it too loud?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Now that's too low. That's interesting. So that's interesting now. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, have you found Mankind Brown? I heard he made his way through town. He's the guy with the really big eye and the water leaking all around. He knows me, he knows you, he knows everybody on this floating zoo. He don't talk, but he sings, he dances around that really big ring. Oh, man, come around. He's always messing around. That man come around. Oh, living upside down, makeup brown, living upside down, makeup brown. We all fell down, makeup brown. We all fell down with makeup brown, living upside down, with makeup brown, living upside down, makeup brown. We all fell down, makeup brown. We all fell down with makeup brown. Yeah. Oh, have you found Makeup Brown? I heard he made his way downtown. He's got all the money and he's gonna be funny with the drinks and the takes and the bombs and the honeys. He's gonna change the sky and I don't know why, but he said Jupiter was up too high. That Makeup Brown, he's always fooling around. Yeah, that Makeup Brown. Oh, living upside down, makeup brown, living upside down, makeup brown. We all fell down, makeup brown. We all fell down with makeup brown, living upside down, with makeup brown, living upside down, makeup brown. We all fell down, makeup brown. We all fell down with makeup brown. So I found Makeup Brown, he's riding on the merry-go-round, laughing to himself, we never needed his help, as he watches the world lift off the ground. That Makeup Brown, he's always playing around. That Makeup Brown. Oh, living upside down, Makeup Brown, living upside down, Makeup Brown. We all fell down, Makeup Brown. We all fell down with Makeup Brown, living upside down, Makeup Brown, living upside down, Makeup Brown. We all fell down, Makeup Brown. We all fell down with Makeup Brown. We all fell down. With Makeup Brown. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, no, it I don't this it sounds now it sounds way much better than I don't know whether it's because I had it in my ears and
Okay.
it sounds way much better than I had it on Instagram.
Nice, nice.
Yes. That was
Thanks.
important. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
kind brown.
Makeup Brown. Yeah, I it's got like some
Maybe
of the lyrics are different, and I've always thought like maybe it's a little bit, but I'm just going with it. Just going with it.
maybe you should make a band now since you already dreamt about it and now you
Yeah. Call the band Mankind Brown.
brown.
It's a name that sticks with you for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you have for us next?
um okay. I've got another song I'm gonna well, there's two of them that I have here in mind. There's one called I'm Just as Evil as You. Haha.
Wow.
And
Where did the positivity go? We were on what happened.
I know, right? That's yeah, the constant undertone of manipulation, right?
Ah, yeah.
The dark side. Yeah, I know. I gotta walk that middle path. So
Oh,
I know. This is the EP of this is like the alternate version to the EP. This is the darker side. The next EP to it's the darker side to transformations.
wow. When is this coming out? The darker side of transformations. When is
Yeah.
yeah? Maybe yeah, you should call it that. The darker sides of
That actually would be kind of funny. That's a good idea. Because I wanted to keep transformations really light and positive, but then I have, definitely a lot of heartbreak songs that are inside of me. So
wow. So you're like you. What is it right again? You know, just
I'm just as evil as you.
wow. So guys, Jordana Kalenova is playing. I'm just as evil as you are. So just so he thought that you know positive talk and evolution and transformation doesn't come. This comes along with it.
Exactly. Oh boy. I'm just gonna take a quick sip of water.
All right,
Um,
that water is different.
some I know, it's very diluted, very, very diluted matcha tea.
Like what kind of water is that?
I know, it's Canadian grade A water.
Ah,
Yeah, it's very diluted matcha tea with some oat milk.
the
Yeah.
solution is to meet them.
Gotta have it every morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So this song will be on my next EP. And which is definitely that James Bond kind of feel to it. The old, yeah, Nancy Sinatra, Dusty Springfield, Nina Simone kind of vibe.
Oh, nice. Ooh. Well,
Yeah.
let me intro this well. Okay, then. But you Nina Simone and it's I'm just as evil as you are. You know they can match up in the same sentence, right? But hey, guys, Jordana Kalenova is performing I'm just as evil as you are right now, and it's of her EP that is coming out soon. Where do you have a date yet?
I was trying for Halloween, like October 31st.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah. Match the whole vibe.
So, we're doing that right now, guys. Okay.
I'm just as evil as you. My fluctuations and fake flirtations, never convinced by your motivations. Your ego can't handle being strapped to a saddle, riding through the dust, blowing out your candle. 'Cause I'm just as evil, my touch just as lethal, my words as deceitful, my lips as flavorful, sinking in so wonderful you could call it illegal. 'Cause I'm just as evil as you, and I'm just as simple as you. I have little time for drama on my mind. I'm wild, but on the right side, I'll heat you up like a rock in the sun, then cool you off with a giggle. Floating high like an hot air balloon, I'll be the one with the needle. 'Cause I'm just as evil, my touch just as lethal, my words as deceitful, my lips on yours so flavorful, sinking in, so wonderful you could call it illegal, 'cause I'm just as evil as you. And don't bring your demons around me, or I'll force you to face them. You'll make me wonder if I'm worthy, I'll allow it for a second. Then hold my drink and hold me tight, 'cause this bit could be peaceful or it could be fatal, 'cause I'm just 'cause I'm just as evil, my touch just as lethal, my words as deceitful, my lips on yours so flavorful, sinking in, so wonderful you could call it illegal, but I can take it all back and give it to other people, 'cause I'm just, oh, I'm just, 'cause I'm just as evil as you.
Just was you. Yes, and that is coming out on the EP. But we decided to create a name for on the show, which is the dark side of. It's coming out.
What is it called? Detransformations? No, what's de-evolving, right?
Yes, yeah. So that is you say that is coming out this year, later on this year.
Yes, in the fall. So hoping for October 31st. We'll see how it goes. Just a matter of getting it all together, getting it all mixed.
How
I
many
might
songs
just
on that?
cave. What is this?
How many songs on that?
5. So Mankind Brown will be on that too. And Just as Evil. I have another song called Silent but Deadly.
Wow.
Another one called Agents in Disguise. And the other one is I'd Love That Man for Free.
Oh, or again?
I'd Love That Man for Free.
Oh, how have you been getting them?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Uh, I, you know, that is we guys, you can get. You only have to wait for when the project is out. Then maybe you'll get an explanation of what.
Yes, get the answer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll like that one for free. Wow. Okay. That's absolutely.
Yeah, that song is kind of like how I'm not high maintenance, and how some guys like high maintenance girls. They say they don't, but sometimes they do, right? Because they think that's what they're worth. And I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't make you do all this stuff. I'd actually just like love you for free.
Why don't men want that?
Not Canadian guys. I don't know. They're a different breed here. No.
Anyways, because that's interesting. I'm like, yo, I don't know. A woman that says she's in high maintenance. Why wouldn't you want that?
I know.
Ah,
They don't, I think some people don't see it as a challenge, but it's a different kind of challenge because it's like you have your typical high maintenance stuff. Buy me this. Let's do this. Let's get a trip. I need this house to look like this. But like for me, it's like I want that person to have the inner work more than the outer work. So to me, it's like I feel like maybe I'm more high maintenance in the end.
because what you require requires time.
Yeah,
Requires more
it's
time
true.
than actually making money. Inner growth is something that that you have to put in actually more work and
Yeah,
work on a
so
journey
true.
but yeah, of
Very, so
transformation.
true.
And
Exactly.
maybe I think things later on keep evolving and keep becoming different, because at certain when you get to a certain age, you're like, there are things that I don't have time for. The patience becomes thin,
Yes,
right?
so true.
And you're like, yeah, I'm not. What you require in your early 20s doesn't become what you require in your early 30s. You're like, I don't have time for this at
So
all.
true. Yeah, you're like, I want to be mad, but I can't be. Just- yeah, you think about that. Gosh, I used to just dwell in my mind about certain things that suddenly just,
The energy, you're like, "No, I don't have that anymore, you know
yeah, it's great. I think in your 20s, you're so caught up in who you need to be and what it all should look like. And then when you hit your 30s, you're like, that was a lie. They lied to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, you get there and you're like, oh no, things are this way now. Then things change, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it becomes that. And the challenge is now when people get, because there's some people that get to that age but they still don't know what is required of them at that stage in life. They still think it's what they were like probably in their early 20s.
Yeah. Especially if people are very busy and they didn't have that chance to self reflect. And then suddenly they end up 40 and they're like, whoa, what was that? Yeah. I didn't really get caught up in that world because of maybe being an artist and a writer, and you're always having to self reflect. But yeah, but even still, right? And so that's one thing about having a child now where I'm like constantly reflecting with him to get him used to that at an early age, right? Like, what is it that you like? How did you feel here? And then his mind can start working like that, where you can quiet it down for a second and be like, oh, I felt this way, or I felt inspired by this, or I didn't feel good by this. And yeah, so he told me the other day that he wants to be a break dancer. And I'm like, sweet. Like,
You might take
let's, ref- let's reflect on that, and let's focus in on that. Because sometimes I think you just keep going through life and you never check in. What is it that's making you happier?
yeah,
And then,
yeah, you never live in the moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So I think again with the COVID stuff, it's allowed us to slow down, check in. People were worried about their life, right? So you're like, what matters? And people are working from home and they're liking it. And yeah.
Oh no, I think there's a group, because every day, every single day in the morning, I'm always talking about the people that when everyone else is talking about we need to be safe, you're reflecting on certain things, you're giving time to yourself now. Others are still sneaking out and attending parties. And you're
Yes.
like, yo, you can't be in your early 30s and you're still running to attend a party for what are you really going to achieve? What that you didn't achieve in your early 20s when you were hanging out at every party that existed.
Yeah, that's so true.
You're like,
Yes.
what do you think this night you're going to achieve that you just can't sit down for a second and say, hey, different times,
Hmm.
I'm different, I'm actually older now. I
Yes.
I need to act my age for a second. Yeah,
Yep.
that's always but that's, and I think that's kind of, even much as you're talking about healthy love, and sometimes we think people at that stage because of how old they are,
Hmm.
and yet
Totally.
and yet so you get disappointed that they are not there because you expected.
Yes. Yes. Again, with that projecting your own. I know.
Yeah, because
I'm really bad for that.
like I've seen, like you are in your mid 30s. Really,
Hmm.
how many parties can you attend that you want to attend right now that you did attend in your 20s? Really, that you just can't sit down for a second.
It's so true. It's so true. I know. That's yes. I think some people, they do that whole work hard, play hard thing, and their adrenaline is so up during their job, and then they want to match that adrenaline afterwards, and there's just no bring it down. And yeah, I I don't, and I think eventually people burn out, but I think that again, with the music, for me, I like mood music, and I like music that allows you to chill out and reflect, and it puts you in that state where you're like, oh, whoa, this feeling, right? And I think that's a really smart way to go as far as like anyone who's looking for multiple streams is mood music. And yeah, so that people who don't know how to calm down can
And actually pay for a way to calm down.
exactly. Yeah. Especially since yeah, I think you can't necessarily just go to a concert that has like chill vibes or something,
No.
right? It's like you kind of have to force yourself now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
have to sit down and take a moment and relax and
mhm.
self-reflect, meditate, do
Yeah. Yeah, meditate.
breathe.
So powerful. Yeah, breathe. That's what keeps us alive. We are
Yeah.
nothing without the breath. Yeah, it's so true. Just focusing on your breath and let everything just sort of go white around you, right? And just remember that, maybe nothing actually exists outside of you, and everything is just a reflection of you. And then how do you carry on from that? Then you can't blame anything.
No.
Can't blame anything. It's all on you, right? So I think that that's been a really healthy change in my mindset when I kind of thought like, what if it is all on me? And what if everything is just a projection of my subconscious?
Yeah,
Then
that too. Because sometimes we think that being evolved and all that, we don't think that the problem is with us sometimes, because
mhm,
you think you've taken time and invested so much in making sure you're better, and then you
yeah,
forget that, hey, someone out there doesn't has no idea what that means,
yeah,
and
totally.
you're expecting them to live up to the standard, and then you're forcing them to kind of get into that, but then it's like a shock for them. They just don't understand it, and they're like, I don't know what you want exactly, because I think I'm giving you what I can give you.
Totally.
But because your expectation is more, you feel like they're not putting in an effort.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you both keep the parallel line. You're here, they're here, and
Exactly. I know. And that's I really feel like things kind of look messy right now because of the fact that we never like I was saying, how it's like you're on the same page with some things with people, but not everything. And there's some things that you might laugh about that another person might feel really upset about.
yeah.
And so like political correctness is like at an all-time high when we used to all sort of sit back and watch the same sitcoms and laugh. Now we're like, uh-oh, are
Oh,
we allowed to laugh about this? Or it's interesting. We definitely live in interesting times. There's been a lot that's happened in the 2000s, right? And it hasn't been easy on everybody. And yeah,
the adjustment has been tough.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I think we all just like need to start laughing again. But it's tricky when there's like actual traumatic things happening, right? It's like, gosh, people just need to stay at home. As far as like the riots in the states and things like that, I'm all for being passionate about something, but when something is extremely dangerous and there's fire and all that sort of stuff, and it's yeah,
And craziness, and
yeah, people getting shot, and it's like, well,
there's racism, just how you look gets you in trouble sometimes. So.
mhm, yeah, yeah, which is
Yeah.
yeah,
You get it for, at a certain point, I kind of, I don't know. If I say I understand where people like that come from, I would, I don't know. I just would speak for me because I've had instances where someone has, we've worked on something, and then after that, and I think it has been, I maybe they had wanted to ask, but then they couldn't find when to ask, and then at the end they're like, "So, how did you learn English?" And I'm like, okay. Now, if you phone me probably some years ago, we would fight over that now. So I was like, I get it. It's not that you are genuinely asking because it's
Mhm.
not what you know. You're not used to that, right? So I was like, okay. No, I actually, the official language is English, right? So we have to learn that. And that's what we learn in school and da 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 da. And
Mhm.
I actually didn't feel any resentment. But
Right. Nice.
but people with people people that are within my life, that can be a point of departure at that point.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So you see that disconnection. That's how now
Mhm.
we both get onto a point where we are both fighting for what we think we know, and then none of
Yes.
us is listening to the other party.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and then we're like,
Yes.
so now what happens is the pride is what gets in front of everything, and then you also are trying to preserve your pride, and then I'm trying to preserve my pride, and then now it's not about the issue, it's about who will keep their pride, who will allow it to
Mhm.
come down, and none of us is willing to do it.
That's so true.
And then we keep here, and then all of a sudden none of us is communicating, and
Yeah.
we keep
Gosh.
creating that gap between us. And yeah, but of course, genuinely, yeah, there,
Yeah.
there are people that are just pure evil. Yes, those exist too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but a lot of the times, people, if people could just have a conversation, that would be better.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, a lot of the times it's ignorance and, you know,
Mm.
not understanding.
Yep. Exactly. It's communication is so key, and compassion. Compassion is such a big one. Compassion towards someone who might be a little bit more ignorant or arrogant or whatever it might be, because some people they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know what they don't know, and they're just a subject of what they grew up with. And yeah, um, like you said, there are some evil, but for the most part, people don't want to be evil and hate and have hate in their heart. And usually, when they do, it's just how they feel about themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they want to blame other things for their problems or feel better than something else. And yeah, um, and it's unfortunate that, again, about having like empathy towards somebody, or yeah, or I think compassion is just the key ingredient, because then if that was like the one thing, the main thing I took from the Bible was the golden rule, right? Treat people how you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just wish, the golden rule was a part of everyone's existence. We would definitely be in a different place, right? So,
A lot of times it's just that we don't communicate. That's how
mhm.
we all keep protecting our positions, and then
Yes.
now it becomes a battle of positions, not
Yeah,
a battle of discussion. Not
exactly.
It's not that. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I don't agree with how things are handled. Because when emotions get involved in things that we are going through, it distorts the message now, right?
Yeah.
So like, even when you're talking about the US, when people are fighting and saying, we went through X, Y, and Z, so you have to understand where we are coming from. No, they don't, because they never went through that. Okay,
Yes.
so they don't.
So true.
I would think the better approach would be, this is what we went through. You're not responsible for it, but
Yeah.
people before you are responsible for it. How do we move forward?
Yes. Agreed. So true.
Yeah. So this is what
Yeah.
happened. All of us understand this is
Yeah.
what happened. How are we going to handle this moving forward?
100%. Absolutely.
How
It's
do
the
we
only way.
yeah, how do we meet halfway? But if we keep bringing up, what happened and blaming this, feeling, you know, even entitlement also, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I feel I need to have this because this. No,
Yeah. So true.
why can it not be an exchange? Why can't it be okay?
Yeah.
I feel like
Absolutely.
this is unfair. Let's try and how can we get to
Hmm.
a point where we feel like we are being fair now?
Yes, absolutely. Because it's like really, it's like everyone has, again, going back to Sylvester Stallone, it's like everyone kind of has that underdog story, right? It's like everyone kind of feels that they've been victimized by the world somehow. And, my family is from the Ukraine and Russia and literally kicked out and came to, and that's like the story of a lot of Canadians. It's like you were just kicked out of your own country because you fought against the system. And my family came here and they were just given farmland, right? And it's like, okay, you guys be Ukrainian farmers, and everyone lived together. No one had like running water, things like that. But that's a very common story in Canada. Like I'm third generation, and you'll meet a lot of second or third generation here. So everyone kind of has that, like you came from like kind of like a country that was under genocide and you came here to escape sort of thing, and you came with nothing. And so Canadians are definitely more like um we we don't have the same sort of race problem or projected race problem
Yeah.
because everyone is from somewhere else.
Because
You
you're
just never know.
somewhere else and you are welcomed into a place. And
Yeah.
yeah, and unlike, I understand, with I because of course I understand with the US, oh yeah.
There he is. Came
The-
right at the end. Yeah. Oh, because he knew that I said till 1:30. And so he came in right at 1:30. Yeah. He's a math guy. Okay, you want to shut the door? No, he didn't shut the door. That's
Probably
okay.
not. Yeah.
So
So
funny.
yeah, I think the challenge is, the slavery part is what is different from
Hmm.
from other people's experience, and that we can't imagine what that creates in the communities and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
at the
It's so,
go
so I
ahead.
was going to say, growing up in Edmonton, there was definitely a divide between like the rich part and the poor part. And I remember thinking like, poor people have problems outside of themselves a lot of the time, right? But rich people sometimes have more problems inside of themselves because there's always fighting about money or entitlement to things. So it's like it actually all is the same in the end. And I used to always feel like on the south side of my city, Edmonton, um, that those Southsiders had it better. They didn't have to struggle. But then when I got to know them, I was like, they have their own set of struggles, right? So it's like, we put people on pedestals who we think have it better, and it's so not true. It's like, again, with people with the COVID stuff and uh, people losing their businesses and losing so much. And sometimes they don't even have the tools because they've never needed the tools to be able to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's really, we're so the same. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish people can understand that.
Hmm.
That maybe that maybe if there was a little bit more compassion, more conversations, more understanding, we would be better,
Yeah.
other than approaching things with anger and
Hmm.
frustration and all these other things that come along, because then everyone
Yeah.
is defending their position now. We're like, oh
Yes.
no. I also feel so because I just told guys on the morning show that I'm on. I'm like, yo, you tell me how much you hate that there's discrimination and because we cover the news and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, I'm like, you hate more of hearing discrimination about between the black and white communities and stuff like that. You hate that so much. But then you are the same people on the show here when people are talking about, when, like, let's say we watch football here, and
Mhm.
uh, people, they usually observe the Pride Month in the Premier League, that is in the UK, and so you have to put on an armband for the captains that has the colors, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So now one of the guys on the show always go like up in flames, and they're like, why the people from that community are trying to promote that habit. They call it even a habit, right? So they're trying to
Right.
promote that, and they're trying to make sure that they can multiply more. I'm like, hey, have you ever had an experience where you are attacked for what you do on your own time, where
Right.
someone literally can kill you because
Wow.
you decided to choose, maybe, because I was like, yeah, I was like just like you guys, because earlier on I was blinded by, the Bible says this, religion says this, and I was like, yo, until I started, because with this I've interacted with many people, that many amazing people, and then until later on they tell you I'm this, I'm like, yo, so now our point of departure becomes what you do on your own time, or what your orientation is. So I'm like, if you really want to fight people that are against racism, that are spreading racism and all that, you can't turn around and then also discriminate someone else.
So true.
You can't. You
No.
you're walking backwards. You are
Yes.
complaining how someone doesn't understand that you having a different color from them. You are the same person. You are just a human being like them, yet you are advocating for attacks on other people.
Absolutely. Yes. What's the saying for that? I can't think of it. It came and then it went, but just hypocrisy and yeah. It's unfortunate. Again, it's fighting fire with fire, right? Um, and someone just has to stop, right? Someone just has to be like, okay, it ends here. If everyone just said, okay, no more, then suddenly there's no more, right? But it's like that pride that you said again. It's or I'm not, but you are. It's like, but you're still taking part in the fight, though. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and actually when it went as that far, and I was like, yeah, the way you say you don't understand what someone's sexual orientation is the same way these people don't understand that you having a different color from them,
Hmm.
you're still a human being. That's the same thing, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. You're also fighting the same battle. It's just that it's different
Yeah.
issues involved, but if you had a little bit more compassion, you'd understand. Because I've met people in here that have shared the experiences, that have gone through insults and everything, thrown out by family and stuff like that. And I'm like, you have to go through that
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
choices you make as an adult. So that's what I'm. It's more of
Yeah. One of my friends, she always says, infinity is boring. So we just make things to do, right? Like we just, it's in our nature to spice things up to experience, right? So if your life isn't as like an eternal spiritual being and you literally have endless time, then we create these interesting experiences that constantly bring us back to source, God, whoever, right? It just always brings you back there to that point of unconditional love, unconditional peace, unconditional understanding. And so sometimes you just have to go in that full circle and then come back. And yeah, you just do we, if we live one life or if we live infinite lives, right? I don't know. But that's a big rabbit hole, right?
that can take us an entire day to in that.
Yeah.
But how do we close this out? What how do we close this out?
I don't know. I could sing another song, or we could, yeah, up to you. How much time you got?
No, I'm good. It's what
You're good?
I usually sleep late. I'm good. Usually there's someone keeping time, and now we are in his time now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always on Joseph time. He
Yeah,
is the timekeeper.
yeah,
He's a time lord. Um, yeah, I could probably do one more, and yeah.
yeah. Let's do that and wrap this up. Jordana Kalenova is on the show, guys, and we're having the performance that is closing out this conversation right here at 10 p.m. And
That's awesome.
what
I,
what are you performing? This one is coming from where?
I'm wondering. I could do healthy love maybe.
Yeah, health.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Or
hmm.
or we could do, let's see, Red Jungle.
Red Jungle. I play on the ukulele, but
Ah,
you know, the thing is I have a lot of songs and I'm always working on so many at once that sometimes I can't always remember the chords. I'll play it and then I'll forget. But I play Red Jungle on the ukulele, or I can always bring it up in my studio and sing it as well. But I know Red Jungle is that's a fun one. If I could only I have to figure it out on the guitar. But every song, if I write a song that has that type of energy, I usually write it on the piano first. Even though I'm not great at the piano, but I feel like the piano gets that energy of like soul or R&B, and then I figure it out on the guitar or other things.
so,
Yeah.
so which other one can we instead get that is?
Um let's see here. Um, I could do Healthy Love, or I could do I Would Love That Man for Free, or I could do Jazz Handguns.
Jazz handguns, jazz handguns.
I'll just get this out here. So, there we go. Yeah, I could do Jazz Handguns. Do you go in circles in a straight talk? Can you count the numbers of a broken clock? Will the night end with a kiss and a song, a charming melody for us to play along? I know you, buddy, you're too late. I see you, buddy, you're too late. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I know you, buddy, you're too late. I see you, buddy, you're too late. I'm the spy on the other side of the wall, alchemizing our eyes will fall. Will the glass break and release our sins? Don't drink from my lips until I say who wins. I know you, buddy, you're too late. I see you, buddy, you're too late. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I know you, buddy, you're too late. I see you, buddy, you're too late. I got these jazz handguns, don't come close to me. Drop your weapons, get on your knees. I got these jazz handguns, don't mess with me. I need to know you're harmonizing with my melody, oh, my melody. Ooh, yeah. Cause I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I know you, but you're too late. I see you, but you're too late. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up. I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. Oh, I'm the girl with the jazz handguns. My life is a standoff when you want me to give it up.
Yes. Oh, where is my round of applause? Come on. Yes.
I like that. That's so funny.
So that is Jordana Kalenova, and how once again how can people find you so that people that want to keep up with you on socials and all that, they have to go to your website.
Yeah, the best is going to my website, jordanakalenova.com.
Yes.
And I
Everything.
am Jordana K Music on Instagram.
Jordana K Music on Instagram, jordanakalenova.com. That is on the website where you can get all the links and keep up to date. Oh, and guys, in the newsletter is not going anywhere. That is still, people thought the newsletter would kind of phase out. Well, like when you go to websites and sign up, it's still in
Right?
existence even now, guys. Sign up, okay?
Yeah,
Whether
they thought emails were going to phase out too, or sorry, not emails. They thought websites were going to phase out.
no,
No, no.
not happening. Same as email. They're like, emails are old school, still the same thing.
Yeah, I love emails.
Yes,
It's classic, vintage.
vintage. And just, throwing things all over the place. The email is always a better place to go. But hey,
Mhm.
go check out music, check out Transformations,
Thanks.
the EP,
Yeah.
guys, and there will be the other side of Transformations coming out later on this year. And you also have another EP, the EP with the German producer. Do you have the
Yeah. The title for that is kind of a working title. Um, but we have a song called Shadow coming out beginning of April. And that it's so 80s synth pop. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Because it still has that 90s, still that influence from the 90s dance music, trip hop feel, but that synth wave, when that came through, that was some good stuff. Because it has that movie feel, right?
right?
And so, yeah, we have a song called Shadow that kind of inspired by Kim Wilde, if you know Kim Wilde
No, I'm not.
from the early 80s. Yeah, she was like a big pioneer of that synth pop. So, yeah, I'm excited about that song. It's different for me. It's not jazzy or bluesy, but yeah, it's fun for sure. Definitely a lot of fun to write that song.
Oh, definitely can't wait then. That is early April, right?
Yeah, yeah, early April. I think we haven't decided completely on a date, but it'll be a Friday, Friday beginning of April.
All right. So it's been great hanging out with you today.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah,
This has been really great.
it's been great to hang out with you, and thank you for the performing also on the show too.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. This has been really great. I really appreciate it. It's nice for me. So thank you. It's been really great talking and having the kind of conversations that we've had.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I like we went full circle with the conversation, so
Yes.
it works out.
A nice existential resolve at the end.
Yeah,
Gotta
at
go
the
for
end of the
that.
day. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we shall wait for the rest of the projects that are coming out, and when that comes out, we'll have them on the show. And
Thanks.
as we get to wrap up, send my love to Joseph.
Thank you.
Tell him I took what, 18 minutes of his time. and we and we are very sorry about that. So thank you so much.
He'll
And
remember it.
eh? Oh yeah, yeah,
He'll remember that. Yeah.
yeah. And thank you so much. So what will happen? Let's see, guys. That's it for the Extreme BPM, and we shall be back next week, Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. That's when we get to do this. Right here on Ejaz Radio. If you miss any of the conversations, go to any podcast app of choice, search for the Extreme BPM. You'll get all the conversations that we've had on the show. So Jordana K Music, that is on Instagram. Go check her out, and her website is jordanakalenova.com. Check out all the music, okay? Transformations, the EP that I like that so much, and go check that out. You will like love the music, okay? That we can assure you. You will love the music. Even if on that EP there'll be something for you, okay?
Thanks.
So otherwise, take care of yourselves and continue to be safe. We shall be back next week.